This is the resolution that we created. That was signed by the BC Summit. 200 chiefs of British Columbia signed this to stand behind Tsleil-Waututh. What I forgot to mention is we're a triple threat to these tar sand companies and oil pipeline companies. Right across from where I live, not even a mile across the water, that's the port. They have the ports, and then they have the tankers, and we have the pipeline. So we're a triple threat to them. And they're breaking all our traditional laws. So all the chiefs of BC signed it. Most of the mayors of British Columbia, the municipalities of British Columbia, they also signed to oppose the continued development of the oil tar sands and the pipelines and the tankers. So it's continue to build partnership with our non-native community too. And this is what I was getting into, talking about alternatives. When I talked about the fastest motorbike and the fastest car, there are alternatives. I don't know if somebody may know here, but I think it's $1 trillion subsidies that your government gives to these fossil fuel companies. $1 trillion. The Canadian government gives $1.6 billion a year subsidies to fossil fuel companies. I think a really good start would be taking those resources and putting it towards green energy. And that's what Tsleil-Waututh did. Our membership at Tsleil-Waututh did a vote, and through the Olympics, we went to court and won some money, and they said, what would you want to put this money towards? It was consensus by our membership that we'd invest into green energy. Long before we got into this battle, so we are already walking our talk, thinking about our future. So we invested into wind turbines, and it's going really well, and that's my brother Justin is the chief, and then my uncle Ann, who was the chief before. But that's such a big deal, because if our government takes the subsidies they give to fossil fuels and put it towards green energy, that would be a big start. When they're worried about jobs, that's BS. Green energy jobs are 2 to 1 more jobs than fossil fuel jobs. And if you think about those $200 million a day, how much of our communities get that? No, I'm not just talking about the native communities, but if you look at education budget cuts, social budget cuts, and all these budget cuts that are happening, that money's not going back into our communities, it's going into someone's pocket, and it's that 1% that Occupy movement used to talk about. So this is our nations paddling together. That's our chief from Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish and Musqueam. First time in I don't know how long that we got in a canoe like that. To come together in solidarity is one heart, one mind, and one prayer, and say that's enough. No more, no more. Because we need to create a better future for our future generations. And like I said, if Kinder Morgan and these oil companies and Enbridge and these owners of these companies, if they're not going to do it for their children, we will. They're part of the human race, we will. So I'm really, really thankful. That's just a quick presentation. I'm really thankful to be here. It's a beautiful thing to see, especially to see our beautiful spiritual leaders to come together like this. Faith and Phil and John and all your volunteers that have worked and done in the ceremonies that were happening today. That's so important. When the environmental organizations approached Uncle Phil, there was about 20 of them in Vancouver that needed help. And Uncle Phil said, before we help you, we're going to pray. We prayed with them for 2 months. Then we got the ball rolling, and you guys are awesome. You guys did it in 2 days. so I'm really, really happy for all of us to be here, all the communities to come together. It's, I think it's going to take something of work that has already been done before by our teachers during the AIM movement. Motivated a whole nation, a whole country to stand up and to help the people who are getting oppressed by other people. But here today, it's going to take the same messaging to help people, but who we're helping us against is ourselves. We're helping ourselves against ourselves to change the direction of what we need to go and get off fossil fuels and other things that are harming our land and harming our sacred. So thank you all very much. Raise my hands to you. Hey!